This is episode 317 of the Super League Pod, and be warned, it's the one where someone sings. We'll let you judge how well or badly. Less ranty, but maybe less hopeful too, than the last show, and less lengthy, as it's Super League all the way, and that rarity of a full round of fixtures. So strap in, it's SLP time. Hello, you lucky listeners. It is your second SLP for the week, and it is episode 317 of the Super League Pod. And little secret, David, I'm having beers during this one.
Oh, are you now?
So let's see. Well, it's a Friday night. Let's see how we get along. And I need to have some beer. Don't have to talk about Wigan's performances at the moment. But welcome back to the show, David. It's been about a month, I think.
It has. It's been a little while. I've been busy, Mark, in the interim period. I'm not sure how I ever had time to work, to be honest, Mark. Between festivals and travelling about and so on and so forth. Yeah, not been on the show for a little while. It's a delight to be back.
Great stuff. Well, I'm sure we'll catch up all about your David's other business, as it were, in the wrap up. But let's start by you telling everyone about our sponsor.
Let's do that. And this episode is sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop. Find a wide range of toys, gifts, rugby league birthday cards and more at Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Visit stores.ebay.co.uk/Rob's Toy Shop. And on any orders over £5, you can earn £5 cash back, 5% cash back. And also 1% of your order value will go into the SLP coffers by putting SLP discount at the checkout.
Good stuff. So what have we got coming up today? It's a shorter show. It's just purely, with the Super League Pod, and this is just Super League that we're talking about tonight. So we've remarkably got 6 midweek games to talk through. But we are going to drop in a bit of news as well. We're going to find out just what special treatment you get if you are the champions, and some other bits of news that have been going on in the last week, as well as talking about the rearranged World Cup dates. Then we've got those 6 Super League matches. One in particular seems to get a lot of attention on the fan views. I just don't know why. And then we'll do our predictions for the Bank Holiday Monday fixtures in Super League, and then we'll get out of here. And hopefully this show will give you something fun to listen to as you're heading around the country over the Bank Holiday weekend, whatever you're doing. Hopefully going to watch some games of Rugby League. Or we've got championship fixtures over the weekend and then the Super League fixtures on the Monday. So hopefully we'll be your company for those rides. And as I said, we have got a little bit of news that we're going to talk about, so we'll get into that first.
So, Castleford, Huddersfield and Salford have been fined by the Rugby Football League for breaches of operational rules relating to COVID-19 protocols. Tigers failed to fulfil fixtures and also breached the commitment to a biosecure environment, which led to a COVID-19 outbreak and postponements. Giants also failed to fulfil a fixture but did not meet the RFL criteria in terms of absentees for postponement, which I think is 7, Mark. The Red Devils' breach of protocols also led to games being postponed. Cass, who were travelling back from the Challenge Cup final at Wembley, when they were deemed to have failed to put in place necessary distancing, were fined $35,000 with $15,000 suspended for 2 years. After 2 games were postponed to add to the Saints League fixture on the 30th of June. Huddersfield's $30,000 fine, half of which is suspended, came with a warning that further attempts to postpone matches without meeting the minimum of 7 players absent threshold could be considered as misconduct. Salford had 2 games postponed after it was found the club had failed to properly reinforce COVID-19 protocols within their training facility and have been fined $25,000 with 50% suspended for 2 years. The fines reflect the RFL's determination to protect the integrity of and confidence in professional rugby league competitions. In reaching the agreed decisions with the clubs, the RFL re-emphasises the sport's obligations to clubs, supporters and commercial and broadcast partners who are affected by such postponements and cancellations, the RFL said in a statement. And we have some views on this, not surprisingly, Mark.
Yeah, Fatboy Rob said, absolute joke, especially relating to Cass's Wembley coach protocols when you consider the photos of Saints players after the same match. As usual, it's one rule for the unfashionable sides and another for the so-called big boys. The RFL aren't fit to run a bath. And Tom Andrews said, not quite sure how Saints have got away with this one. Surely more fines to come. And you know, other than, even though it comes from a place of small town, small club inferiority, Rob's got a point. Who the fuck are Saints shagging to get away with this? What dirt did they got?
I don't think we're going to actually, Mark. The rumour is behind the scenes that they're in discussion with the RFL about the fine that they're going to get, because Rob's quite right to say that, you know, there were photographs of posted on Twitter of Saints being in less than social distanced environment after the game. I think in the announcement it says that they've got agreed decisions with the clubs for the fines that have already been dished out. I suspect that means that there's still some ongoing discussions with Saints about the fine that they're going to get. Maybe Saints don't agree with it, but I can't see any reason
I was hoping
why
you'd react to this and try and fight the corner of your side, David. But that was fucking reasonable.
Not taking the bait, mate. Not taking the bait. I am also assuming that Catalan are going to get a fine like Huddersfield for postponing a game, i.e., or shall we say, cowardly dodging a game with Warrington. When they had less than the number 7 down with COVID. I think they only had 5, and it was staff, not necessarily players that were down with COVID. So I'm sure they're going to get clobbed as well.
Enough confirmed around that situation yet, have we? And there's certainly more to come on that. I think and there might be a 24-0 walkover as well on that to come, which will be interesting. I guess Catalans have a different circumstance in that there's possibly, you know, they wouldn't be allowed to have travelled as well with those positive COVID tests. So that's another thing into the mix in them that might mitigate any fine or something to a certain extent. But in the same way, it's not the last we've heard of that, and it can't be the last we've heard of the situation around St Helens. I guess. To be honest as well, I'm still wondering where the fallout is, and I know it's a totally different setup because it's not the professional game, is it? The women's game. It's somewhere between professional and community game. But you know, the fact that the women had the situations around their Challenge Cup final, and that's a way ago now, and we haven't heard much follow up to that. And certainly, so maybe they're looking at a combined decision for the St Helens Rugby League club as a total outfit for both breaches, maybe?
No, I wouldn't have thought that would happen, Mark. I don't think that.
You think there's a separation there?
Yeah, I don't think that would be a reasonable approach at all. And there's no money, of course, in the women's game. So if they find the women 35,000, it would shut the team down, I think.
No, that's why I'm thinking maybe a club-wide punishment for failing to do it twice and not learning from the women's game either for when the men's one came around.
I don't know what the circumstances were around that, but I wouldn't have thought that would be the case. But that'd be my view anyway. But you're right, we haven't heard anything about that, or indeed about any of the other things that have gone on in the women's game. I haven't seen any information actually on fines issued to any women's team that have had problems with COVID so far. It seems to be restricted to the men's game, and I guess I understand that because of all the broadcast partnerships and all that sort of stuff.
And one's a professional entity with paying spectators, one's a community side of the game. There's been no paying spectators until just recently in the women's game allowed back in. So it's a totally different kettle of fish. It's just interesting when one club has had the same thing happen twice. That it's interesting to see if
we'll just have to stop winning trophies, Mark. That's obviously what does it.
Mate, I'm all for it.
Well, you're setting an example for us. So, should we move on to another story?
Yeah. So Hull FC will be without Josh Reynolds and Joe Cater for their Super League run-in, as both require surgery following last Saturday's derby win over Hull KR. Reynolds, who's 32, has a detached medial ligament in his knee, whilst Cater, who's 23, has a ruptured Achilles tendon. The surgery could mean both players miss the start of next season too. I mean, they both sound really serious injuries, don't they?
Yeah, they're not quick recoveries, those, I'm afraid. And St Helens forward Joe Batchelor has signed a new 2-year deal with the club. The 26-year-old back rower has made 24 appearances for St Helens since joining from York in 2019, with 16 of those coming this season. We're quite pleased with that. He's a late developer, late bloomer is Joe, but he's got a lot better now that he's playing regular first-team football, and he's certainly not out of place now in the back row of Saints pack. So yeah, he's had a very good season, and we're very pleased that he's staying on for a little longer.
Yeah, he seems to be, consistently in that match day 17 now. Even when there's sometimes other options available, is moved himself up the pecking order slightly, and there will be opportunities next year, won't there, in that back row, because your two starting back rows are leaving at the end of the year.
Yes.
So
yeah, well, Matautia isn't, but Bentley and
Thompson though.
Bentley and Thompson are going. There are obviously rumours around about us pulling another player in to play in the second row at the moment, but I'm not sure whether we need them or not, to be honest. Wingfield's looking like he might be able to step up to the plate, but we'll see.
Yep. Castleford favourite Grant Millington has announced he will hang up his boots at the end of this year. The 34-year-old prop will return home to Australia with his family at the end of the season, rounding off 10 seasons as a Castleford player. Millington has made more than 240 appearances for the Tigers and holds the record for the most appearances made by an overseas player in Castleford's history. In his decade of service with the Tigers, Millington has helped the club to lift the League Leaders' Shield, reach Wembley twice, Old Trafford once, and was also named in the Super League Dream Team in 2017, when I'm fairly sure, if I remember right, he was in the SLP Dream Team too, because he had a great year that year.
Yeah. He's been a great servant for Castleford, hasn't he? And I know Cas fans will be very appreciative of the time he spent at the club.
Yeah, he's turned into an absolute first name on the team sheet kind of guy from about 2015 onwards. And even when they were in a pinch and they needed someone to play at half-back, he filled in there occasionally, hasn't he, over the years? It's certainly some player.
Yeah, very much so. And I'm sure his shirt will be hanging in the club at Castleford for many a year.
And I think one of his legacies that isn't listed in the article that we got this from Love Rugby League, is the time that his brother had to spend, was it like €500 on a taxi or something, because he get pulled over at gunpoint or something ridiculous on a trip from Barcelona to Catalans when he was going to watch him play in France.
I don't remember this story.
I have a vague memory of a ridiculous story involving Grant Millington's brother trying to get to a game in France and either getting mugged or losing his wallet or something, and Grant Millington had to end up paying his taxi fare to get him from Barcelona to Perpignan to watch the game.
That's a hell of a way to travel, that's for sure. In very good news, I think, Mark, I don't know what you think about this, reserve team rugby will return in 2022. The Rugby Football League has announced the RFL has agreed with the Super League and a number of championship clubs for reserve team rugby to return next season, alongside an under-18s academy competition. The plan is for two competitions to be played on alternate weeks throughout the season, making a likely maximum of 16 rounds in each, to manage the demands on players and clubs. A playoff series will determine the champions in each grade. All Super League clubs will run a reserve team alongside Championship clubs Bradford, London Broncos and Newcastle.
Yeah, I agree. It's good news. It's positive. So my favourite thing of this is what I've been saying for a while is you shouldn't be expecting the reserves to play every week. They don't need to play every week, in my view. I think this sort of rotating it with the under-18s and the reserves, what you'd probably then look to have as well is your scholarship under-16 side playing at the same time as the reserve side. So what you've got is your under-18s will be a mixture of your best of your scholarship players getting a chance with your academy group, and then the best of your academy group will get a chance to play with your fringe players against, in a step up environment